the world that we live in today wasn't created for us to be successful.
When we're born, we're at our like purest form, but then you get indoctrinated. As you're getting older, it's like you have to learn how to go back to your pure essence.
The skills that are inside of us are really hard to mine. They're not easy, they're uncomfortable, you don't want to do it, it makes you feel awkward, embarrassed. But those are the things that will create the greatness out of someone.
The things that become easy for us, we tend to overlook. And that goes for you. If you're watching the listen, it's like whatever comes easy for you can be a product, it can be a service you can provide.
This is part of my life mission, by the way, is to teach people how to create their dream life.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the On Pursuit podcast, back in San Diego. It's the evening, literally just got off the road, but I had to pull up because this person is somebody that I definitely wanted to interview and get on the podcast. Look, she's a project manager. She's in the construction space. She's also in the digital marketing space, right? She got digital products.
Lots of them.
Right? You're teaching women and just people in general how to like separate time from money.
Yes.
Right? But then also how to get into a space and, where there's a small percentage of women in the space and still, accelerate, lead, lead team.
Yep.
I'm excited to have you on the show. What's up, Eva?
I'm excited to have you here doing this for I feel like you did a lot today to make this happen.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie.
Warrior.
So look, listen, y'all, I was already in San Diego, okay? I was already in San Diego.
It would have been perfect.
I know. It would have been perfect. We would have got this done earlier. I made a commitment, right? That commitment was, I had told someone 2 weeks prior that we was gonna do an interview. And honestly, it was more like content. So we did a mukbang on with tacos, plant-based tacos.
Ooh.
And so anyway, because I'm a man of my word, right? I drove back from San Diego to LA.
I honor that.
Right? We got it done. Then I had a charge because I got the Tesla. And then I drove back from LA to San Diego, right? And now I'm here.
And you set up everything.
Yes,
the energy that you're running on is not human.
Really?
I literally gave him a scapegoat. I was like, hey, if you're tired, if there's traffic, like no worries, we can reschedule. And you're like, no, I'm good. God level is a perfect way to say
God
it.
level. But this is the thing also, like, you gave me an out, but you also could have took it out. Like, oh, I'm, because you're flying out tomorrow. So like, hey, I'm flying out tomorrow. It's getting late. Why don't we just reschedule? You know what I'm saying? But, it was supposed to get done. We'll say it like that.
Yes. So
why don't we just start off with, what do you do first? So let's get into that. So you're a PM in the construction space. So how did you get in this space? What is a PM? Why do you consult in this space? Like, how did this even come about?
Okay, it's kind of a longer story. It's a good one, though. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we got some time.
How I became a PM, I mean, it's a progression stacked on little choices made over time that's been a catalyst for this business. But before this, I was in Arizona. I owned salons, skincare stores, rental cars, like just all sorts of little hodgepodge businesses that I was piecing together to make a great income. But I was still working 80 hours a week, and that great income still equated to like $20 an hour, $30 an hour, just hustling, busting my butt. And I wasn't really passionate about like making money. I'm passionate about helping people. So after doing that for 6 years, I was like, okay, there has to be something else. I moved from Arizona to San Diego, closed and sold my businesses. And I took that money and started investing it as a private money lender into house flips. And that's how I got introduced to the construction industry and met and partnered with really great general contractors and started being the liaison between homeowners and contractors. Because what was happening is I was hitting the phones, calling people in San Diego to see if they wanted to sell their house so I could flip it. But no one wants to sell their house in California. They're like, no, I'm going to keep my house, but my roof is leaking. I need a new AC. Like, I would just get to chatting with them on the phone.
So were they more outward with this information, or were you just continuing to keep the conversation going and things start to uncover?
You know how things are done. Okay. Yeah. You have to like keep the conversation going. No one's like freely giving their information to you. But once you start talking to them and like connect with them on some level, even over the phone, it's really difficult. But once you get in and you're like, hey, well, I can help you with your roof. Actually, like, as you know, I'm calling you to buy your house. Like, obviously, I work with a lot of contractors and I could come give you an estimate to see how much it'll cost to get it fixed. Okay, cool. Why don't you come by? And then I'd go by. I would crawl up on the roof with my ladder. I would take the measurements and calculate how much I knew it would be, run it by the contractor. They would say, yeah, that's how much it will be. And then I would sell the job for the contractors. And that's how project management came to be. 5 years, 7 years now later. And I'm doing bigger projects.
So I got a couple questions. Number one is you shut everything down and then you moved to San Diego. So why do that? Right? And then the other question I have is, most people are timid when it comes to having conversation, talking to strangers, even when it comes to like selling stuff or, you know, like having that, how do I ask for the sale?
Yeah.
So why did you move?
Yeah.
Right? Why did you feel like you needed to, you know, offload and move? And then where did the energy come from as far as like, you know what, I'm gonna just go and ask these questions and be aggressive and just be forward?
I love that second question too, because I think that's something that everyone needs to like hear and know, like, how do you get to the next step?
Yeah.
But for your first question, I was already in the energy for like 6 months. I feel like at minimum, maybe even a year of like not really liking where I was at in Arizona. Like having the businesses and like just feeling like I was just turning my wheels. I was working so hard for money. I was always having to hire new employees and turning over so many people that I just knew that wasn't for me anymore. And it took a while for all the pieces to come together, but then I ended up in this relationship that was really, really great. And like after maybe like 2 or 3 months, we both moved to San Diego. It was kind of, I always say,
so y'all moved together or?
Yes, together. And I always say, like, the best thing he ever did to me, we're still friends and cordial, of course. I'm like, the best thing you ever did for me was move me to San Diego.
Gotcha. He put you in a good environment.
Yeah. My family was so mad. They're like, no, you're not going to take her. No one wanted me to leave. Yeah. Everyone's like, no, her life is here. But I was like, no, guys, like, there's a bigger and better life out there. I need to explore. I need to, what I'm doing here, I just felt like I was in stagnant energy.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to shift, go beyond my limits. And that's what got me to San Diego. And when I was making that transition, closing businesses and then moving here, I was also studying for real estate because I thought I would be a realtor.
Like an agent?
Yep.
Yeah. I was an agent.
Were you?
For like 8 years.
Dang.
Yeah.
So you know what it takes to make the phone calls, make the relationships. When I took that test, after I got the license.
California test is ridiculous, by the way.
Oh.
Well, not the test. The process is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, they just make it long for no reason.
That's what it's the hardest state.
It's just long for no reason. Like when I was in Massachusetts, I got my real estate license in 3 weeks. I did a deal that first month.
That's way better.
Here, it's like you got to do 75 hours, wait 18 days, do another 75 hours.
It's crazy.
Wait 18. What's the point?
And I didn't like really know all this going in, but by the time I learned it, it was too late. So I was like, I'm just going to do it. But then once I got it, I didn't do anything with it. No. And you know, it's education. Like I feel like at least I have, it empowered me with stuff you probably didn't need to know, but I think it helped in construction on some level. But I wanted to be in construction, so did the real estate thing, didn't sell a house. Are you still in that industry?
Nah, not as an investor, but not as an agent.
Right, yeah.
I would never be an agent.
Agent's not for me. I don't want to show people like houses and
that's why I
have them tell me, I don't like the paint. I'm like, paint? Yeah. What do you mean?
And it's like the thing, well, this is the thing, and it's not against being a realtor, right? Because you can make good money being a realtor.
Oh, the best.
The average realtor, however, only makes about $55,000. I mean, let's just keep it a buck. And then when times get hard, like the recession, they don't really have any other skills. So they don't know how to help a client when, you know, percentages are higher. They don't know how to help a client when, you know, housing inventory is small.
Yeah.
They only know how to do a transaction. So they don't know how to bring value. So I always thought, as an agent, kind of like what you were just saying, right? You paid attention. You're like, okay, I can kind of bridge the gap. So if you're an agent, I feel like you should have relationships with roofers and other contractors. You should have solar relationships. You should have, the water companies and stuff. You know, with how you can change someone's entire water in their homes. Like anything that's pertaining to a house. security systems. You should have that because, like, you close someone on a deal, you help somebody sell a house. If you have everything else, they'll stay with you. So now you're gonna sell them life insurance. You're gonna help them with the roof. You're gonna help them with the security. You're gonna help them with the landscaping. You're gonna help them with the snow removal. You know what I'm saying? What are y'all doing? Get to the bag. Y'all leaving so much money. Do you want to start? Listen, man, I'm about to go with you on a consultant for real to coffee or something. Y'all leaving a lot of money on the bag right now. You know what I'm saying? A lot. It's a lot.
I love that you're saying it because also this is the best commercial for me because that's the same thing that I'm preaching to any of my students. And a lot of my students are realtors. Yeah. And there's like the same thing that you're thinking is they want to expand their book of business. Because my thing is like, why wouldn't you, if you have a business, like everyone just wants life to be easy. And the reason why people buy from a realtor or buy from anyone is because they like the person and they want to do business with them. So then, like, if they like you so much, then be the point of contact for them on everything. Like, how can I help you?
Yeah, fact. So I kind of like.
No, that was perfect.
Move the conversation a little bit. But you
need to sign off rights to me so I can use it.
That's fine. So you moved here, right? Your the relationship that you were in got you here. So it was in perfect environment. But where the energy come for you to, like, ask these people, like, hey, listen, you know, I'm gonna just climb these ladders.
Oh, right, that question.
I'm gonna like do sales. Like, I'm gonna speak to strangers. Like, where that energy come from?
That's a great question. That energy came from when I first had my businesses. That energy came from like in the very beginning of like just we talked about earlier, like me being like 16, figuring out on my own, 15, figuring out like hustling, selling Jordans, like doing whatever I can to like.
You was talking sneakers?
Yeah.
What was your favorite Jordans? Or what are your favorite Jordans, if you have some?
I mean, of course, I love the ones now, or something that I more lean to. But back in the day, I really loved the 11s and the 12s. Okay. Like, I don't know, that was just my thing. I felt like not everyone liked the 12s. They're not like as cute or aesthetic, but they're my jam. What about you?
Mine was probably the 6s. I like the 6s. Those are nice. And then the 10s.
Okay, cool. Yeah. You're also not the normal.
I'm different, bro.
Yeah, you chose a different number. People are like the 1s or the 4s.
Those are my favorite Jordans, but I don't even wear them. Like my last pair, just check this out. My last pair of Jordans, I sold them along with a pair of Kobe's.
Nice.
That were in the closet.
Nice.
I was just collecting. I sold them to get the money at the time to pay for my real estate license in real estate school and then the fees and everything.
Yes, spoken like an entrepreneur.
That's what happens.
This is what you do.
Like,
you make good money choices where you buy stuff that holds its value, and when you need to pivot and put into another investment, you sell it because we're attached to the results, not the material item.
Yeah, I bought them. I'm like, these are nice. I want to wear them, but like I wasn't even going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And then I was transitioning from like being in the clothing. I was in the fashion industry for like almost 10 years. So I was transitioning out of that. I had asked God, I'm like, yo, I need to maintain, or I want to maintain my lifestyle at the time. I'm like, what else could I do? And I was always into real estate because of Monopoly, like my favorite game. But I never looked at real estate. But it just popped up in my email, and I was like, okay, this is what you're showing me. So that's kind of how I got into it.
That's a sign. That's a good movement. You upgraded from shoes to houses.
Well, no, you upgraded from shoes to houses.
Yeah. Well,
I upgraded from T-shirts, hoodies, and shorts and hats to houses.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. Yeah. That was just a little side thing you did.
Yeah. Well,
like it's like buying art, you know? Like lots of people, you put art, shoes, even purses hold value. You sell it later.
I almost bought super random. I was in Dolce & Gabbana like Christmas Eve. I went there with my friend. So I went with my friend. My friend has a friend that works there. So we just in there just browsing. So she's like, we have this Dolce & Gabbana bag that you can only buy if you're an Amex holder, but you gotta have the platinum card to buy it. He's like, there's only, maybe there's only like 300 or something. And it was $7K, right? And it's a woman's bag, straight up. Like, and it's like,
sounds like a good investment.
It's like super like, you know, like loud. When I say loud, I mean like it shines. You know what I'm saying? Like it got the jewels on there and stuff. So I got pictures of me with it. So I'm holding it up and I'm thinking, I'm like, should I buy this? And just ice it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Well, I didn't, but I was super contemplating.
It's like the Barbie, like the modern day, like century and millennium Barbie. This is girl talk.
Yeah.
But you know, you're come on, your mom
was like
taught
this
you
big.
this.
I'm looking at it, I'm like, nah, I'm
Put in the case, hold it for a few years, get that profit. I don't even like to buy things that I know won't hold value and turn a profit.
Yeah.
Like cars, just anything I'm like that with. Yeah, it's a good way to be.
So, all right. So you in SD, you're in this space, and who are the type of people you're helping? You know, like you're doing restaurants, because you told me a second ago, right? You got a project in AZ right now.
Yeah.
That's restaurant, so it's commercial. So like, what other, like, who's the ideal client that you were working with?
You asked such good questions. But also, I remembered I didn't answer your first question about like what sparked like the ability to be able to like call people.
Yes.
And and that is from like, of course, having the businesses, but because I had that experience before with like going through a lot of rejection, and in like my previous business, that was also sales for like 5 years of skincare sales. So I had employees that were taught to like sell custom like skincare regimens, and like in high amounts too, right? From anywhere from like $1,000, $2,000, like an average transaction would be 200, but like these girls were able to like stop women and sell them this whole line of skincare products for like $1,000. They don't even know them. So it's really intense sales. A lot of rejection though is my point to that. Like out of, to get one sale, they probably had to like ask and get rejected 20 times in order to pocket that. And for me, it was the same thing. I had just had that like knowing that if I go through the numbers as fast as possible, I'll get to the result.
Yeah.
So like for me at that moment in my life, because I had that 4 years of practice of just like getting rejection all day long, I was able to not care about hitting the phone and not get nervous, because I understand people get nervous, pick up the phone.
Are you nervous right now?
No.
Yeah, so like, are you nervous when you meet strangers?
No. Are you?
But a lot of people are.
You don't either, right?
No, I'm not.
Yeah. And I think it's practice though. It's like a muscle. And my thing that I always tell people is it's like, you and I, like, we're not special people. We just did we probably are really special, but God says I'm special. But no, people that when you go through high amounts of like rejection and just like making it happen and going for the yes, I feel like you build that muscle over time.
That's generally what happens to men all the time though, because men go through a lot of rejection when they
for sure. You guys have that masculine energy where you guys are the protector providers. Like you're meant to go and like build and create and push forward through no's.
Yeah.
Women aren't designed for rejection the same way.
Different. Well, I was going to say that it's different. It's a lot different.
No, yeah. Now my energy is probably a little bit different. Back then I was like hitting the phones to attract clients. But after I put in that work, which is all masculine energy, just straight up work, result driven, I'm using my mind constantly. I learned the skills, developed those, which is masculine energy. And then now I've moved into more feminine energy, which is attracting the clients. So I don't like hit the phones. I literally just go and put out what I do, what I am, what you will receive. And then like the right people come to me through, I say God. I feel like God's always just sending me the right people. He sent me you. Now we're here.
Listen, we're here. Cameras is rolling. We on the pod. Y'all are getting it right now. That's a real good point. So a second ago you mentioned a special. So I feel like when we're born, we're at our like purest form, in my opinion.
Same.
Right? But then you get indoctrinated. And like your parents, your friends, the environment, if there's some scarcity energy in your household, whatever the case may be, then you're programmed to think, move, shake, process a certain way. So I feel like as you're getting older, it's like you have to learn how to go back to your pure essence. Because people just think that how they see the world is how they see the world, but it's not. It was like implanted in you, in my opinion.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's weird. It's like you have to unlearn just to go back to where you were.
Factory reset settings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how you come. You come with abundance. You come with, like when a kid attempts to walk, they're gonna fall. But the kid's not gonna be like, well, I fell. I don't know if I don't know if the walk is next for me. You know? But as adults, we're like that.
Yeah.
You know, we're like, I don't know. I mean, I called and went by. I'm not making them walk off.
Right.
But a kid's gonna get up, fall, get up, fall, get up, fall. And you can tell a kid no. You can be like, can we go now? Can we go now? Can we go now? Is now the time?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it's like we have to get back to that, but as adults. So I think, yeah, we're special, but we're all special, but we just have to realize
that we're special.
Yeah.
That we're tapped in. Yeah, that literally is, I always say like life is so simple, but those simple things are the hardest things to actually do.
Yeah.
Like the amount of years that I think I've practiced just to get to a point where like, yeah, we're all special, but then to actually believe like, oh shoot, like I am special. And not because I'm special, like no, like we're actually all special. Like we're all God, we're all the same God energy, like God's in all of one, like every single one of us, and wants us to have our own unique mission. You know, it's so different from everyone else's.
Yeah.
I love that you say that because I feel like you say like, oh, that's what I believe. But as you speak it, it just sounds like the most logical thing. Like who would
It
not
is.
believe that?
But you
this is
gotta be
it.
like, is what I believe, because the environment that we're in now, I'm not trying to push how I think on anyone, you know?
This is my internal world.
This is how I feel about it, y'all.
Your
This
internal
is how I actually feel about it, right?
Yeah,
You can feel how you want. Because you know what happens now? Instead of people like, it's black or white, or okay, look, I'm wearing a suit right now, right? It's black and white. So what color is it?
Black and white.
And it's black and white to me.
Yeah.
But someone can be like, no, it's
That's
this color.
navy blue.
It's this color, right? I don't care what you say. This is how I feel it is. And then what they'll do is they'll go get a whole group of other people
Yeah.
that say this is this
Yeah.
color. Now there's a movement,
Yeah.
right? And now it's like black, white, or oblique, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I have such a stick on this, by
Bro.
the way, because my thing is like, you know, energy is so precious, and
Yeah.
I don't understand like why there are so many positive things to focus on in the world and the things that we want to do and change and create and like the things that people get fixated on and start groups on. Like you made a joke right now, but I think people would start a Facebook
Yeah.
group and want to talk
Listen,
about that.
They're about to start a Discord. They're about to be on the X. You know what I'm saying? Reddit, all that thing. It's
Like he is a
some-
liar.
I don't know what he's talking about. That's definitely not black. You know what I'm saying? But that's how it is. But that's the reason why, unfortunately, you have to, you know, phrase it in a certain way, because people aren't taking accountability.
Yeah,
Because they're not taking accountability, and they don't want to feel like they're wrong. They're gonna just create their version of what it is, a delusional version. Again, how I feel, right? And then it now becomes that. It's like the silliest things that we have to accept as, oh, this is an option, where that shouldn't even be an option.
I'm hoping that as these conversations still continue to take place, like I know more minds are going to change and they're slowly going to start opening up and just realizing that like coming from an energy of wanting to be right is just always the wrong energy.
Yeah.
You know, like there can be multiple truths that exist to like in one moment where
Yeah.
like your truth is your truth and my truth is my truth and they don't have to be the same. But like to be in a state of like ego where your day and the moment that you're in your life, that 1 hour is dictated on how you feel by someone understanding if you're right or not. You know, I think when people lose the desire to be right, that's when they really step into like greatness. Cause like, then you just don't care anymore. You don't really care if people don't answer your phone call, if they don't agree with your opinion, cause you're like, that's okay.
Listen,
We can both be right.
I'm trying to offload people right now.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying?
I can't
Like,
take it anymore.
I'm trying to offload humans. Feel me? Like, forget about colors and like perception.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get rid of whole humans right now.
Me too. I'm like, how hard can I work so I can help the most amount of people, but from a distant island with as much space as possible? I was walking the airport today, literally thinking that same thought. I was like, what is this space with like the least amount of humans? I was like, wow, look at me. Like, just trying to be as like, I mean, just energetically, I don't
Yeah.
want humans around me. It's a lot to take in people's like emotions. I'm an empath, so I feel everything.
What you
And to
feeling
take
right
in
now?
someone's
What you feeling?
Good, calm, confident, cool, chill. Yeah. You have a very, this is why this is perfect for you, because you have a very like podcaster energy. Like someone who makes people comfortable in the environment. Yeah, you do. You have the personality. You get people talking.
Yeah.
That's a gift.
Yeah, I heard that before. Someone else told me that, as far as like being able to get people talking, or just be able to convey, have be conversational.
Yes.
And so the thing is, this is like the things that become easy for us, we tend to overlook, and that goes for you. You're watching the listeners, like whatever comes easy for you can be a product. It can be a service you could provide. It can be consulting, it can be info products, which kind of leads me to like, you get into digital products because whatever you do naturally can become that for anyone, right? I feel like it's like, if something comes natural to you, you can create a product and help someone with that. If people always ask you for something, that's also a product or service that can be monetized. Or if you just like, what's in the world right now? What do you see that can be improved, or what's missing, right? Uber was something that was improving transportation.
Yeah.
Right? And look at it. It's thriving right now. So what made you start moving in that direction and start monetizing some of your gifts?
I think the same thing that I'm sure all your listeners have also realized too is that everything is digital these days. Everything's moving online. And when I saw that happening, honestly, I came in like way past the wave. I feel like I avoided like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all of those things. And then I realized, Eva, why are you resisting this? Like literally people are making more money in the digital world than in less time.
Ain't they though?
Seriously though, like internet money.
Y'all better get to it.
Internet money is the way, like, yeah. Especially coming from me, where like I grew up in an age where it was like brick and mortar, like salons, stores, like that was the way. But like honestly, I feel like I could have not done that still, and started my internet business 6-7 years later and been in the same place of how quickly the internet moves. And when I saw this happen, so it was right before COVID hit. I was, what was happening at that time? I had my construction company. It's thriving. It's doing great. And then I had personal things happen in my life that took me off of working. And then COVID hit, which also took me off of working because construction, obviously, like no one's going to anyone's house at that time. So I'm like, I haven't already been working for 6 months at this point. And I'm like, shit, like COVID just took my business out. Like, look at how something can just do that. And I'm always talking about having multiple streams of income, having other investments, and thank God I did at the time. But that's when it really hit me where like I need to move my business to online. And that's when I started making a construction handbook to teach homeowners how to manage their construction projects.
Is it the same handbook that was online and the link wasn't working?
Probably.
You fixed that link?
Boy, probably not.
You gotta fix that link, bro.
I need to hit up Patty. My girl Patty does all my coding on my websites. And
Patty.
You know.
Fix the link, Patty. I was trying to support. Guess what? I can't.
Is your revenue stuck? If you're an entrepreneur and your revenue is stuck, you don't need to fix your products or services. You need new audiences to discover you more consistently. Podcast guesting is the ideal way to be discovered 24 hours a day by your ideal clients. And guess what? The more people that know you, the more people can flow you. Head over to podcastmasterypack.com and take advantage of your first or next podcast. Let's go.
All right, so you were talking about digital products.
Oh, right.
And why people need multiple streams of income.
Yes.
But then why during COVID there was a pivot. And Patty got to fix the link, right?
She's gonna fix the link. Yeah.
So talk to us about that. So you still have construction business, right?
Yes. Okay.
And consulting.
Yes.
But COVID popped off.
Yes, COVID popped off.
So what was it around that time that you realized that, hey, there's another opportunity I can get into? Yeah. When you figured this out, how'd you figure this out?
Taking my memory back, 2 years prior, I already knew that was the way. And I think just like most people, I was just doing a lot of research, a lot of like YouTube videos, trying to see like, what would I do? What would my avenue be? Like, am I going to, at that time, Amazon FBA wasn't even a thing, but am I going to be an Amazon seller? What product would it be? Do I do a digital book? What else was I looking at? I mean, God, the internet was just so big. I was researching for 2 years. And then just finally, I was like, okay, Eva, just do what you know. Like, you've already been a professional, like been working for, at that point, it was like 13 years, 14 years. Like, I've done a lot. Like, and I just wrote a list of like, what is it that I'm good at? I was resisting construction for a long time because it wasn't something that like I was passionate about. It's not helping people. It's not, and I just wanted to help people. I think I had to get over the fact that like, oh, construction is helping people, just not in the humanitarian way I was visualizing. So when I finally, COVID forced me to get over it, because when COVID hit, like there's no income coming in. I already had like, I was already not working for months prior. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm good at. This is what I know what to do. Like, just package it and sell it. And that's when I went and wrote the book, did the whole deal. And then by the time I even started pushing that book, though, I went back into consulting. At that point, then I consulted for my contractors and architect firms, and I kind of like let the book fall to the waistband on the digital side until it picked back up recently when I started launching the construction course. So now I've packaged everything all together. It's interesting, though, how, at least for me, these things take time. Like, I see some other people popping off like super quick, and I always tell my students, don't let my limits be your limits. Whatever I did, you can do 10 times more than what I did. You know, don't start how I start, be better. Because I see some people that are just making like hella money in 6 months after they launch something.
Yeah.
But that was not me. It was a slow burn for me.
Got you. But still is money that you don't have to work to make, which I think is great.
And I was always chasing residuals. I think back when I was younger, maybe like 18, 19, I think I was like 19, 20, I was working on the corporate side for a network marketing company, and I was their trainer. I was way too young to be doing this job, honestly, but I was traveling around to like all of the states and helping them train their people on how to sell the skincare, and then helping create systems for the company. And that's how I was exposed to like network marketing. I didn't actually ever like sign up and build it like traditionally. I did later on in life, but my first exposure was that. So it was kind of very pure. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is, residuals is the way. Because in network marketing, that's what they preach. Yeah. Residual, money, passive income, do the work today and then make money for life. And that's when I got addicted to that. And it would always stayed in my mind of like, how do I create opportunities for myself that will pay me later, which was this digital course, and still is going to be everything in the digital world. Even my best investment has been an e-commerce store, paying someone money to develop my Amazon store and build it out. And then I don't do anything. They do all of the work and we split the profits. Like, that's a dream investment for me, which is also digital.
Yeah. So you're older now. Not older, but older. You're not 19.
I'm older, wiser.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm saying that is, I remember being 18, 19, 20, and you talked about network marketing, right? So even now, people believe that network marketing is a scam. Yeah. Right? But they believe that because of how they were taught, like traditionally.
Goes back to what you're saying too. Everything's programmed into us.
So I remember being someone that was introduced to that. And it feels scammy because of how you've been taught that time and money are inclusive, right? So when you have to go to meetings or you get introduced to a certain way, or it's a process before the opportunity is available, you know, there's a certain level of vetting. Yeah. You know, you have to, you know, share information with people, you know? But if you really look at it, those are the highest levels of monetization. Those are the highest levels of you becoming, right? Because what do you got to do? You got to present. What is presenting? Packaging information. Yes. What is that? That's me taking this information that's packaged and I'm sharing it with someone that this product may be a good fit. It can help them. In a palatable way. In their language. Yeah. Right? Then I do that over and over. So now I'm refining a skill set, right? I'm orating, which means I'm speaking, which means now I can go speak right? I'm pouring into myself, mindset, personal development, routine. I'm around other people that are doing the same thing, right? That are wanting to go to the next level.
Checking all the
That
boxes.
sounds like a scam to me. I don't know about you. I don't want none of that.
Don't
sound like
sign
a
me
scam.
up. That's a cult.
Yeah, that is what are y'all doing? And y'all making
What are
money?
y'all doing? Yeah. Those are the conversations I want to be having.
Yeah.
So when someone listed all those things out to me, I thought like you, and I was like, this makes sense.
Yeah.
And even though everyone else said that like this, like Eva, what are you doing? Like this is crazy. And this is just the heat that I'm getting from the corporate side. So imagine like even when I started building in a company too, I would get so much heat. But I think that's where the taste, like when you're that person that just doesn't care what other people think, you go against the grain. Because what I've learned is like if people are going against the grain, you have to go the other way.
Yeah.
Whatever people are thinking is okay. You do the other thing because all those list of skills you just listed are the only reasons why like we even have anything to say right now.
No, fact.
Like
100%. I'm gonna tell y'all to be very honest. Like, in I have a performance coach.
cool.
So like, she unlocked some stuff with me yesterday. But when I first sold a product that was $5K, which was probably 3 years ago, it was my own products. I remember like banging the line, like, you know, being on the phone, talking to people about it, and like stumbling and fumbling, you know what I mean? And then when someone actually was like, yes, I was like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe it was called 30 because I was so bad, you know? But I had sales skills, but I was, you know, this was different. But okay, man, maybe it took me 3 weeks. Maybe it took me 30 calls, but I just made $5,000, and someone may have to be at work for, what's that, 40, 80, 160, 160 hours to maybe make 5K.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Which one sounds easier? And I'm at the house.
Yeah.
Probably got shorts on.
Comfy.
You know what I'm saying?
Comfy and closing.
Yes, there you go.
Comfy and closing.
There you go. God level again. So to me, that seems like what we should be doing. Like those are the skills.
Yeah,
we're running from the skills that we have. Like those are the skills that could free you.
Chills that can free you literally. These are the skills that AI cannot take away. And like this is like why I just pitch so much to people. Like you see AI taking a lot of jobs, like even in grocery stores. Like you just saw the McDonald's that came up that's completely AI operated, well, not human operated. It's like the skills that are inside of us are really hard to mine. They're not easy, they're uncomfortable, you don't want to do it. It makes you feel awkward, embarrassed. But those are the things that will create the greatness out of someone. And God put us in this world to be great. So it's like he wants us to be in those like that environment where we're pushed up against the wall and we're creating this we're creating what we didn't think we could, we're creating a future that we didn't think could happen, you know? It's powerful that you also have this skill set.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all, I don't want to do nothing that's not worth my value. And you know what's crazy? As you continue to grow and develop your skill set and be more self-aware, you end up turning down things that you would never turn down. Yes, you know what I'm saying?
All the time.
It's like, think about this. I'll give you an example. Let's say I could close a call that might be a 30K call. I don't even want to do it because I feel like it ain't worth my time.
Yeah.
And I might sound crazy, y'all.
Time is
I'm just giving an
everything.
example. Now, the reason why I say that is because I relate it like this. If I have sales reps, and my sales rep, let's say they get paid 10 to 15% of that sale to close that call, and I close that call, that means I pay myself 10 to 15% of that call. I didn't make 30, I made 3,000, let's just say. So was that worth my time?
When your mind could be thinking about how you get this 30,000 product to more people,
Exactly.
or make this 30,000 product a $60,000 product, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is why y'all need to pay attention to the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's just different.
Take notes.
Right? No, but it's just different. And I realized at some point there was friction. You know, maybe you might identify with this, but the friction was my old self that was used to just tasking and doing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I could just do this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, let me just do the laundry.
It's faster if I do it.
Yeah, right.
I have to explain it to them. It's gonna slow me down.
100%. But then my new version is like, nah. So when the new version is like, nah, but the old version is like, we can just knock it out, that might lead to like indecision, or it might lead to it not getting done, or it may lead to it getting delayed. But those are the inner conflicts.
Yes, that happens to me all the time. Like I'm constantly reassessing. Back in the day, I was reassessing just once a year, a quarterly, monthly, weekly. Now I have to reassess by the day and reprioritize where my time is going to, because you're hit with so many fires and you initially want to take them on yourself, but then you just have to stop and think and like, okay, can I train this out? Can I do it today? And how much time am I trying to save later? Like now I'm just trying to be lazy. Like I'm here for that lazy energy. It has to be easy. I want to be out, I want to teach someone else how to do the great. You be good. If you have all the glory, I'm going to be over here.
Yeah.
Because the more I relax, I feel like the more I can handle the bigger problems and also like forecast, make bigger money. Like I've made the biggest financial jumps in my life from relaxing and just like taking the control.
Yeah, you ever think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So earlier, before the cameras roll, you were talking about like where you came from, like your family. You being a youngster. A young lady.
Yeah.
So what was that like? What was your upbringing like?
Okay, what was my upbringing like? It's so interesting.
You said you was adopted, right?
Yeah, oh, right. Okay, so I'm adopted at birth. And later on in my life, at 14, my mom leaves and my dad ends up being like not able to be a parent at that time either at 16. I'm living on my own. And I'll explain more of that in a second, but like, I always felt really blessed to be like brought up in that scenario. So you know how sometimes kids like are adopted and normally everyone's like, oh, have you looked for your parents? And it's kind of a sad thing, especially as a kid. A lot of people would ask me that question.
Yeah.
And I never felt like, even when they'd ask, I'm like, no, like, what do you mean no? I'm like, no, like I never felt like there was a piece of me missing. I felt like God blesses you with a life and he blesses you with a family. And even if you think that like it could be better, or whatever it is, it's like, no, it's a blessing, like whatever it is. And I'm glad I always had that mindset, because later on in life, when I look back, I understand that every little bad thing, or like quote unquote bad thing, was what created me to like be so vulnerable, be so empathetic with people, because I've experienced like everything life has to offer, all the blessings and all the hurts and turmoils, right? And, but growing up in that environment when I was a kid felt great, because when you're a kid, you don't really know any better. What you have is amazing. And it wasn't until like, I would even say like 26, 27, 28 years old, when I'm like, at that time, I think I'm working less. Like before I was working 8 hours a week from like 15 years old to like 25. So after that, when I started to like be around other families more, I started to understand, oh shoot, my family dynamic wasn't normal.
Yeah, fact.
I was like, oh, like I thought I was like a normal human. No, that didn't happen to you. Oh shoot. So it's kind of this funny out of body experience where it's not like crazy or sad or like woe is me. It's just like funny. You just like, wow, life is so comical like that. So growing up was, a blessing and a challenge, Do you want me to go into other stuff?
What I want to understand, like being adopted. So the reason why I want to understand that is because there's probably someone could be adopted watching and listening to this. But it was like you were adopted, but then you had a portion where, one of your adopted parents abandoned you.
Yeah.
So like it's like that's and I don't think I've ever heard that story. I feel like I've heard people get adopted and they're in a family. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny.
But I don't think I've heard someone gets adopted and then one of the adopted parent ends up abandoning them. That's crazy. And then you turned out how you turned out. So I mean, it's a lesson also.
Yeah.
But like, one, you never yearned to find out about your biological parents, and then what did it feel like when that parent that parent left?
Yeah.
Have you felt abandonment?
Whoa, this is such a good question. I mean, I mean, still to this day, I struggle with abandonment. It's interesting because Now that I know like what I know about life and everything, it's like I understand that we come into this world, like God puts a very we're all so unique, like our fingerprint, like our soul is very unique. So he puts us into this world with a very specific mission that he wants us to accomplish. And even if it's a mission as
I gotta
simple,
take a note because I have to get back to that.
perfect.
Hold on, you go ahead.
Okay. And even if it's a mission that it seems so small, like even if it's something of just like, oh, you're going to be alive to cross that bridge one day and save that man from dying. And if you do save that man from dying, then that man's going to go and like save the world from cancer. Like you could think that your life is so like minuscule, but there's something that God has you to do. And so because I always like had that feeling and that connection with him, I've always felt like really at peace with it. And now looking back, I can understand God made my life this way for that reason. And when I was going through this process, like I remember my like kids would come and pick on me. They'd always tell me, oh, you're adopted, or like your family doesn't love you. I actually didn't even know I was adopted this time. My mom's black and my dad is white with like a Confederate flag like tattooed on his like left shoulder. It's the most like unorthodox situation you would see.
These are the adopted parents?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's something I'm always very deeply grateful for. And it's so funny because looking back, I'm like, only God could have orchestrated this, you know, something so like magical and painful and beautiful. And like to have my dad taught me a lot of how I speak today is from my dad's mindsets and philosophies. And yeah, he lost his way when I was like 14, 15, when my mom left. And so my mom left and she left my dad in probably like $60,000 of debt, like in between the credit cards racking up, not paying the bills, like none of the light bills, nothing. She was like stacking cash. And then like when she moved out, took all the furniture, she really like left my dad in like a bad situation, which is like not to like shame her by any means. I can understand now sometimes women really feel like this is what like I am supposed to have or whatever the case is. But like it put my dad in like a really like emotionally tough situation, which had him spiral. And now looking back, I understand that people like we're all gonna make mistakes, and we're just trying to do the very best that we absolutely can in that moment. But we're not like superhumans.
Yeah.
But to see how my dad recovered from that situation, like after 6 years being addicted to drugs, like hardcore, and like us having to come through that cycle, to see someone who can go to rock bottom and to build themselves up again, I think is more respectable than anything. But also who he was before that moment, he was always drilling into me, like, always do the best you can, like always see the good in everyone, never tell a lie, always do the right thing. And these are things he was saying every day to me. Like, these are his little, like, his sayings. You know, he'd be like, be the first one in, last one out, always lead from the front. Never ask someone to do something you won't do yourself. Always appreciate the little things. Always see the silver lining. And those things literally got me through being abandoned, my mom leaving me, my dad then falling to drugs and leaving me, and then being like 15, already raising myself, but like at 16, not even in that house anymore because that house is infested with like drug people, cops are coming all the time, stuff's getting stolen all the time. It was not a good environment for me. But like,
definitely not a good environment.
not
for
a good
little girl.
environment. And you know, that's when I really built up the most of my masculine energy, where I figured out how to do it myself and leaned in. Like I didn't lean on anyone else. You know, I did it all on my own. And later, when my dad was recovering, and we would talk about it, of course, he felt so bad. But I was like, Dad, like honestly, you gave me the mindset, and then after you gave me the mindset, you put it to practice. And honestly, if you wouldn't have done it, if it would have happened any other way, everything that I have today at that moment, like I just like put the down payment on his house. Like I gave him my Mercedes when I bought a new car. Like I was doing the most. And looking back, I don't really think necessarily a child should do all those things for their parents. But like for me, coming from nothing, like we were always in poverty. Like none of us had any money. Like my dad didn't. Like he was always teaching me how to dream and do these things. So I worked so hard to kind of get back to him in that way, because in my living situation, my dad was actually the primary parent. Like my mom didn't really like, she did the best she could with what she had, but she didn't necessarily have that love in her. She probably went through a lot of like trauma and things that I don't even know about, but like we didn't have a close relationship. So my dad was my everything. So everything I am, even to this day, was to give back to him. Even when he passed away, I almost went through this like identity crisis because I was like, what am I working for?
Oh, yeah. Your dad passed away?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine did too.
Did you also
Yeah.
go through something? I'm sure you probably were working really hard for your mom.
Nah, so my mom and dad weren't together. So how I kind of look at it is, I feel like my mom was one of the women that my dad was dealing with, because he also like have a sister from his side that's 11 months older than me. So like, bro, they were both pregnant at the same time. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Like the math is mathing.
Listen, what we doing? So you know, I feel like my mom was a woman that my dad was dealing with, and I don't know if he introduced her to drugs or she was already doing drugs, and then our relationship kind of like, you know, amplified it. But he was a street dude. She could have been somebody that already had a taste, or maybe, you know, that relationship brought on the that hunger, and you know, she passed away from you know, drugs. Like, you know, she had double pneumonia, weakened immune system.
Whoa.
Sharing needles. I used to go to crack houses with her. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know ammonia. My dad always had ammonia.
Yeah.
Is that a drug thing?
It's from a weakened immune system. So so it could be like HIV, it could be AIDS, it could be just from drug abuse.
Wow.
That your immune system just
Done.
yeah,
Like,
it could be a couple of different things.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? And when your immune system done, you don't have that natural defense, so you're gonna be susceptible to like a common cold can come get you. A common cold, you be like, yo, let me sleep this off. Let me get the sauna. But like,
So what it out?
but someone that has a weakened immune system, a common cold could really take them out for a week, or even worse. Like, you know, it could be a situation like that, depending on how weakened the immune system is. So my mom passed when I was 12. My dad only recalls seeing him maybe a handful of times. We never had a relationship. He never taught me anything other than to not like be like him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the message I
That's
got.
something.
Right?
You're like, what was he? Okay, good. Don't
Not
do
like
any of that.
So he died when I was 15. So I didn't have them. So my lessons were like seeing what they did and me learning what not to do from them.
Whoa.
You know, and my grandmother raised me, but she died when I was 16 from lung cancer.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Because back, you know, in the 80s, that's what people were smoking.
Yeah.
You know, so like my grandma, my aunt, my uncle that I mentioned to you earlier, they all passed from lung cancer.
Whoa.
You know, at different stages in my life.
What are you doing at this age?
So
At this point?
well, my grandmother raised me. She was my guardian. So she passed away when I was 16. So I was going to my last year of high school. So we stayed in the family house. So it was really just kind of business as normal in terms of like the routine and everything. I wasn't displaced. My aunt was living upstairs. My uncle was living downstairs. I just stayed in the home because it was like a 3-family. So I was in that second apartment that me and my grandmother was living in, but she passed.
Was she your main person though at this time? Like the person
Yeah.
you'd come home just from school and say like,
Yeah,
hey,
she's
grandma,
my main
this
person.
is what
So
happened.
like she used to take me hooping, you know, tennis. Like she was my mom.
Yeah.
Cause she like, you know, when her daughter, my mom couldn't take care of me because of her drug addictions, she became my legal guardian. So she basically was my mom. So, you know, all the lessons that I got were instilled from her, from, you know, for what I can recollect.
I have questions now.
Yeah, go. Oh, it's your podcast now.
This is my podcast now. Now, because I'm wondering, like, I haven't sat in front of someone who has lost every important person in their life before 16. So I'm wondering if, like, how you felt in this situation too, if it relates to how I was feeling. Did you also like? When I was that age, because of this, like, you're going through high school, you obviously have to like figure life out and how you're gonna survive. I actually, looking back, realized that I didn't necessarily like feel my feelings. I was very like apathetic, very turned off to everything. I didn't talk to anyone about anything I was going through. I could literally have whole friends that like knew, like, they could think I was a functioning human, but they didn't know any of like the sadness that I was dealing with. Did you also?
Yeah, so
were you the same?
That sounds very familiar, to be honest. But what okay. So like all my friends at the time knew what was going on. And I experienced so much death that I became numb to it. And it didn't stop me from doing anything. Like I still hooped, I still went to school, I still talked to girls, I still did my thing. You know, I was still, you know, whatever. But I channeled how I felt through writing. So like I used to just write poetry, or I would like free write, or I would take any situation I was in, and you know, we didn't have the cell phones back then. I had a notebook, you know. So I just write in a notebook. So like I could be on the subway and I could see someone and then get inspired, and then I just write.
Me too.
So like that's how I was able to like heal myself or just get my emotions out, my feelings out.
Did you talk to your friends though about it? Like I know they knew, like my friends knew too, but like I just felt like it was so deep and so like heavy that there was like, I didn't even feel like a trust, well, for sure, I think trust issue. Yeah. Maybe it was trust. I just didn't feel like anyone could relate. I was like, what's the point of talking about something that like no one can relate to?
I would agree with that. I definitely didn't feel like anyone could relate, but at the same time, it was just like, I also felt like I don't want anyone to feel bad for me. I honestly start to resent when people are like, yo, are you okay? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Like, I didn't tell you to feel sorry to hear that.
Well, do you think that's a masculine energy thing?
Which one?
Like to not want people, because, you know, feminine energy is like, you know, like we're more like, oh yeah, like we get it.
Well, it might have been both. I think I had trust issues, so I was protecting myself. I didn't want anyone to feel bad for me, but then at the same time, I don't want to be treated differently because
you're going
now
through
it's like now you're learning something about me, and then suddenly you feel bad. So it's like now you're like, how I want to, you know, so you want to kind of. I
want people to. I'm like, man, you should feel bad.
Yeah.
Open my door, please.
Mine's a little different, you know, and it might have been because I was a young man, you know, I was a young boy, but I didn't
trying to carve your way in the world.
And I didn't have that other older brother, uncle.
The support
to be like, yo, this is how you should process it, or when someone says that to you, this is how they may be thinking or feeling. So you shouldn't feel offended by it or whatever. Like I didn't have that.
Did anyone like come to you and say, hey son, like I know this is a hard time, like you've lost everyone?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I had a great grandma that was still there, and I had I don't know at that point when my aunt passed away, but she was still there at a portion in my 20s. But I just didn't want people to feel bad for me, and I didn't feel bad for myself. And I just developed trust issues, but the trust issues were more like, I just expect you not to stay.
Oh, that's also my like same feeling of the abandonment.
Yeah,
you know, you almost prepare for it.
It's like, yo, when you out? 6 months? You out?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like that. It's like
you just like already know what's gonna happen.
So what we doing?
You don't get like overly excited about people or overly attached to people, and you're just like, oh, okay, like you're here, it's a blessing, but like I'm not going to count my future on like you being here because everyone like leaves. Have you worked through that? Like now as an adult,
worked through that,
I'm like,
for sure. I need all the love.
I realized that like there was a process where like I thought I was perfect. I was like, oh, I'm this like smart, driven, funny, nice, caring woman. But then I realized, oh shit, I have like a lot of like abandonment wounds where I almost like push people away.
Yeah, I don't feel like you ever get perfect. I think that you learn, you unlock, you fine tune, and then you have people come into your life where it's like, oh wow, okay, you show me something different, or you show me a different perspective, or you're able to elevate me, you know, unlock, or you're able,
fine-tune, de-layer.
100%. So I think you get that from people and experiences and like, you know, coaches, mentors, you know,
everything.
Just having people that you can talk to.
Yeah.
That don't judge you and, you know.
I've walked the path before in a greater way, and it doesn't even have to be financial. It could be maybe like biblical or health-wise or whatever. And they have the tools, the resources, the analogies, the stories. I feel like stories like really heal, you know, I can hear one story from my coach where I'm like, wow, I relate to that. And it can transcend years of work in one story.
I would definitely agree.
What's up, y'all? I'm standing in the middle of the street and I'm willing to risk it all because I want you to grow, whether through paid or organic measures. Over the next 5 days, the Audience Growth Challenge, we're going to be teaching you podcast guesting strategies, video marketing strategies, social media predictable viral creation strategies, the power of radio and digital PR. And these strategies are what you need to grow your business over the next 4, 6, 9, even 12 months to skyrocket your success. So if you want to join the challenge, all you got to do is click the link below and join the Audience Growth Challenge and join it as a VIP. Let's get it.
You mentioned something earlier about like people being here having missions.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is this, right? I would love to hear what you think about this too.
Okay.
So how can people discover or even spend time on their mission when they're so inundated with how to pay the bill?
Oh.
You can't even get to the mission. Some people never even arrive at starting the mission because they're worrying about keeping the lights on.
Yes. This is part of my life mission, by the way, is to teach people how to create their dream life. And because I've done it myself, I know you've done it, and I realized it's one thing that people really get stuck in. And even for the longest time, and I'm sure you can relate to this, as I was going through the movements, I didn't feel like I was aligned with my mission, with my life purpose. It took me a total of 12 years, 13 years to actually start doing something where I felt like, oh, this is it. There were other times in my life where I was doing things like, I would even say network marketing, when I was actually doing network marketing and building a team, I had that glimmer of oh, this is it. And that's when I could feel oh, I was helping people, I was making an impact, I was having stimulating conversations. It was the first glimpse of my life's purpose. It wasn't necessarily what I should have been doing, but it was where I was accessing what made me a better person. And I think that's the key for people to find what they're good at, is to try as many things as possible, wholeheartedly, things that a lot of people won't try network marketing because they're like, oh, that's a scam. Well, do it anyway.
You know what the scam is?
Still try it.
Job.
Literally.
Getting money slow is a scam.
Yes, that's such a scam. And picking up on that part, which relates to your question, is the world that we live in today, I think the faster that people start to realize that it wasn't created for us to be successful.
Yeah.
It wasn't created for us to be living our highest self, to be healthy, not stressed. Understand that even driving outside is a stressor. Traffic, bills, all of these weird things that we're doing, the society that we're living in.
Do you know about the straw man?
The straw man?
Yeah.
No.
We had a different conversation. You go ahead.
You gotta tell me a little bit about it, though, because I know about crazy stuff, all of it. I might know about this and just not know the term.
So basically, and I'm not trying to throw you off because you kind of go.
I'll find it again.
You sure?
Yeah.
Allegedly. So basically, the country that we live in is a corporation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a country,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And because it's a corporation, we're the property of the corporation.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're born, your birth certificate is part of the corporation. So the laws that govern the universe and the laws that govern the country or the corporation, two different things.
Mm-hmm.
So the laws that govern the universe is who you are, your authentic self.
Yeah.
But the laws that govern the corporation
Yeah.
is who they created on your birth certificate.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two versions of Eva Brown.
Ooh,
There's
I
an
love
Eva
that.
Brown that's the lowest. There's an Eva Brown that exists in the universe that's under God law
Mm-hmm.
and the law of the land.
Oh, good.
And then there's the Eva Brown, let's say the capitalized Eva Brown that exists under the corporation, and that's where they're able to tax you and give you
so good.
fees and give
Yes,
you parking tickets,
Yes.
give you debt.
Yes. Where you can.
That's attached to the version of you
Yes.
that's created.
And what trips me out is that so okay, there's so much I can say about this, but life is like a video game, right? And we're
Facts.
living in all of these little simulations. Our own life is our own simulation, but then we living inside of these larger ones. So then there's universal God law, which is that's the creator of everything.
Yeah.
So I follow God law. But then you have the little mini simulations, which is this straw. What do you call this?
It's called Charmin.
Straw man.
Yeah.
And then that creates these little matrices inside of the matrix that we're living. So we're a game inside of a game inside of a game inside of all these little mini games. And in order for you to break free from a lot of this stuff, it's not only knowing the game and understanding, but the level for you to know this, the amount of books and research you have to go down, it's you have to know history government law. You're also learning about tax law. You're also learning about the history of the country and the major companies that have built this country. So like Rockefeller and like all these other crazy companies that are funneling into the pharmaceutical company. We're gonna get like what is it called when you get blacklisted off a podcast or like.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna come for us after this. But the banks, pharmaceuticals, fast food industry, it's like all ran by these conglomerate companies that have just locked us in their way of operating. But once you break out, you start to like meet people that are more aligned, and I feel like it's gonna divide soon. And more people are waking up to it to start to get educated on even how to maneuver your life inside of the States with like through taxes, through wealth management. Like I think the reason why we're not taught financial literacy in school is obviously to keep us working for people. But once you know financial literacy, you understand what to do with your taxes and how to move in business. You don't have to be a big business boss babe, but you could literally just go do what you love, make $30,000, $100,000 a year, the same that you'll make being a teacher, being this or being whatever, but do it for yourself and then have abundant tax write-offs. Like these are the things that could really set people apart from society and build them up, you know?
Have you ever read the Creature from Jekyll Island?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you gotta read that.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that one down. Yeah, I'll actually read that right away.
Yeah. You gotta read that one. So I agree with that. As far as the mission, people can't get to their highest self and help people that they were designed or created for, or what their life purpose was to touch, if they're worrying about bills. And money's really energy, and because money's energy, it's not connected with time.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the biggest fallacies, right? Right there.
It's interesting how everything that we have been taught is so opposite to what is actually the reality of the world.
Yeah, because you're not taught to be at the highest level.
Non-mere, like it's like not even a question, but our entire life growing up, we have been taught to think that money is the source of all good and evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money isn't infinite, but really it all is. Like we create it. We can create whatever we want to.
Yeah, money doesn't even exist.
Yeah, it's literally
it's like air. Like there's no scarcity in our air. There's billions of people here. We got enough air.
You saying that, like that's literally what unlocks someone from not having money to having money. And it's the simplest thing, but when you put money into the same category as air and you understand that it is just so abundant and you can buy and spend and circulate as you please, but it's our energy that ruins it.
Yeah.
When we spend the money and when we think about spending it or receiving it, our energy blocks it. It's either we spend it and we're like, oh, another bill, as opposed to thinking, oh, I'm so grateful that I have this cell phone.
I want to pay people.
Yeah, that's what I always say. I love paying people. Let me pay you. I love paying for all service, for high quality service. And I also love receiving money. A lot of people have blocks receiving money. They like feel bad about it. I'm like, no, money's supposed to circulate. It's not even anything important. Like you're important. Like a human is important. Money is like toilet paper.
Are you Canadian?
No.
You
but I'm nice like a Canadian.
You speak like a Canadian. I'm like, is she Canadian, y'all?
I could be.
I don't know. You might have to check the lineage. You might be some.
It might be somewhere in there.
Might be some Canadian in there.
I mean, I really am nice like a Canadian. You know?
Right.
Throw in the A.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or I could talk Hawaiian, pidgin, you know. After everything, I would say, yeah.
I don't know nothing about Hawaiian yet.
Oh,
I ain't been there yet.
You gotta go and speak pidgin.
Yeah. I gotta go.
What's good with you, brother?
See what you talking about. Okay, so transitioning on the energy, I've been going down some of your content, and I feel like I don't know if it's recent or maybe I just been tapping in recently, but you've been talking a lot about energy, masculine, feminine.
Yeah.
You've been talking about how like, you know, the intention of like masculine in women energy. Mm-hmm. You also been talking about what I think I saved it, but
thank you.
Yeah, but it was something like the type of masculine energy that like makes sense for, so let's say someone like you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like the type of masculine energy that would be a complement to the feminine energy that
Yeah.
that you are, that women are.
Yes.
So let's speak on that a little bit.
Oh, I love this topic. It's one of my favorites.
Clearly, because every other post is like,
Yeah. I feel like too on my Instagram, I talk about so many different
she's like
things.
construction, digital products, feminine energy.
Yeah, I'm always about like, for me on my Instagram, you'll get like energetics, money moves. But a lot of like energy work, masculine, feminine energy, and then universal energetics in general. Because man, that's made the biggest difference in my life.
Yeah.
Like my life now is like really easy. It's very like God focused. It's very led, right? I'm completely supported. Like I have completely taken my hand off the wheel. God directs the entire plane, ship, the whole fleet of everything he's creating. And when I started leaning into that type of energy and using these two dynamics, I feel like that's when like a lot of abundance unlocks and a lot of ease in my life where I don't have to like bust the phone like crazy amount of times or like do a lot of work to like circulate money. It just comes naturally. But it took me like 3 years to practice it, which is why I like to talk about it a lot. Where should I start? What do you think?
I mean, I want to start on the feminine energy because I feel like right now the feminine energy, at least the messaging, is kind of wild right now.
It's everywhere.
Wild. It's wild.
What do you say about that?
It's wild. It's like women. Okay, so I feel like there's a messaging of women that are masculine that don't want, let's say, a male masculine because they feel like they're masculine, or like a women's energy that is feminine, right? Very feminine led, has masculine, awareness, but like wants the masculine to complement, still wants to be led because it's important. You know what I'm saying? Like I think people, like it even says it in the Bible. People think that if I'm like, I want to lead a woman, like that's it's like I'm saying something negative, or like if a woman that's successful is like, yeah, you know what, I would give this up to support my husband. Like that's negative. And I feel like whatever's gonna work for people is what's gonna work.
Yeah.
Because a woman can still be masculine in her own right, but still be a supporter, subordinate to her man in that relationship.
Yes.
So it's wild out here. It's like I had a conversation with my friend. I'm like, and we just talking. I'm like, a lot of women choose easy jobs. And she took offense to it. I'm like,
they should choose easy jobs.
I'm like,
it's not in our hormones to work that hard. Like
cool.
literally,
And
like our body's not meant for a hard job.
And what I'm saying to her is, I'm like it's not a knock or a negative, but like women aren't building infrastructure. They're not in the ocean putting down pipes and running oil lines. You know what I'm saying? And putting down train tracks.
Yes.
And yes, there's a percentage of women that are in these industries doing that thing, but women are not building the planet.
Yeah, like when you look at society as a whole,
y'all are populating the planet.
Who contributes who and who contributes what? And it's like, and right now we have to like understand society. It's like everyone wants to be different, but at the end of the day, universal laws are universal laws. Like you're not going to
come together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now how I'm seeing the future, it's like we've already spent so many decades being like separated and like not playing as a team. When I look at like relationships, especially, like that's a team unit. So the better that people can get on board with understanding that everyone has feminine and masculine energy inside of them. We each are responsible to balance those energies. Like, you have it, I have it. Feminine energy helps us tap into softness, into beauty, into creation. Like feminine energy, it transforms and it transcends what it's given. So I love the fact in this energies you have, whether if you look at it in a biblical state, in just an energetic state, or if you're looking at it from Eastern medicine, like across the board throughout the world, universal laws exist where those polarities matter and they're not going anywhere. So we're either going to fight against the grain and try to be something that we're not and say like, no, like I'm a woman, I'm hard and I'm this and I'm that. Yeah, I can be all of those things, but life is so big and so full. Why would I only want to be that? Well, the reason why every woman wants to be that and wants to be a boss babe and wants to do hard things and wants to prove themselves. So when you say comments like that, it triggers them.
Yes.
They want to prove themselves because, unfortunately, we've been raised in a society that was not built in our best interests. It wasn't built to program us in our best programming. It was like we're in a society where words like easy don't sound good, you know? Like no one wants to say, oh, I took the easy job. But what we don't realize is no words, nothing exists in this world that's necessarily wrong or right. Like everything is just neutral. We make the meanings of things. So when you say a word like easy, I make a meaning of that where that's amazing. Like, yeah, someone in a relationship should tap into easy energy. Could you imagine having a relationship with someone where both people are in like hard jobs and they're just both struggling? Like, and I'm not like generalizing here, but most of the men that I know, first of all the men I know are divine masculine men. You guys are creators, providers. Like you guys see vision, you go and you make it happen and you do the things. And like, you don't necessarily need your counterpart doing the things with you. Like you don't need her to move the boxes. You don't need her to do those things. You would actually want someone like, and also as a masculine men don't want to do things that are easy and soft. That's also not you guys. Like you guys aren't trying to chill and like decorate the house and make things look cute.
I ain't trying to do this shit.
No, right.
Yeah.
Like, and that's fair.
I ain't trying to sleep. I'll take the trash out though.
Yeah, perfect. Like get in where you fit in, you know? And if like, and as like a woman, I think for a lot of years, because women had to, unfortunately, even when I look back to the war and when you pin this stuff and how history has developed, you see how women came into the workforce. And when women came into the workforce during World War II, when they came in, then what happened to the households? Kids are now going to the babysitters. Now there's two income. At that same moment in that year, the government also decided to start adding income tax. So the government now just has increased money across the board that wasn't even supposed to stay. They were just saying, hey, we're going to do this during this period of time so we can get us through the war because we need extra money to pay for this stuff. Everyone's on board. The country's united. That's beautiful. But that tax stayed the same. So, of course, now it's in the people at the top's best interest for these two incomes to stay generating. But then the family unit now falls apart. Now, women are also sold that they have independence and all of this great stuff. But then what happens is like, first off, men can do anything and women can do anything. But like when you're in a marriage, when you're in a partnership, why would you want to do everything? Like you do that the best you can do, and I'll do this the best I can do. You can't decorate a house better than me, you know? Like, and I take pride in that. And you and I probably can't build a house like better than you. You could probably do it a lot better.
I don't know. You and that. Listen, she building a house and decorating, and you got that.
Yeah.
You know,
but it takes a team. I think because I work with so many men is why I feel so passionately about this, because I work in an environment where every day I realize how strong and amazing and kind-hearted men are and how much they do for me, for everyone. And I have this sense of appreciation for all of my contractors. You know, I'm just like, Jesus, thank you so much. And because I'm always so appreciative, which by the way is feminine energy, I feel like their love tank is filled in a different way, like than it would be working for someone else.
Men like to feel appreciated and thought of, you know.
Dude, you guys like break your backs. Like you guys do stuff that like I would never in a million years want to do. And like even if I could, I wouldn't want to. And I just think there's like so much honor in that. I do think the moment that men start appreciating women for what we do in terms of being nurturing, kind, open-hearted, like women, like we might not be like the most masculine energy is about doing, getting things done, being vibrant, being action oriented. Feminine energy is about being still, mindful, intuitive, trusting God, trusting. So that would be trusting your masculine energy, which is what you're talking about, the man that leads. And I refer a lot of things to God. So when I think of masculine energy as a feminine woman, I look at masculinity as like God, my father in heaven, my father, my late father. Any man in my life, I'm like, oh, that's God energy. I can follow that leadership. Of course, good leadership. No woman should follow a man that's not like in his honor and his integrity.
Yeah.
But life is easier if you do it that way. Even in work, I use these energies, and it's like, I could go into work and think that, oh, I'm a bad bitch and I have managed so many great projects and I know what I'm doing. But for me to always still in my work environment, submit myself to following and listening to men that have came before me, that are greater to me, and supporting them in their vision, my jobs run better. Like, I could argue with them all day long, or I could want it to be my way, but like, that's not going to get us, the team, to the best place, you know?
So I got a wild take. My wild take is this. If everyone, well, not everyone, but if the majority of people are worried about money, right? They're so distracted by that.
Okay.
Right? Let's say they're distracted by that. So they can't think about their purpose or how to help people, right? And now we got this messaging dividing men and women. So now I don't even have time to think about my purpose. I don't even want to be in this relationship. I don't want to get in a relationship. Or if I get in a relationship, it's like this, right? Or it's like that, or whatever the case may be. There is no family unit. And
No support system.
Ain't no support system. There's no family unit. I can't think about my highest next level and how to help people because I'm worried about paying these bills.
Yeah, you're in survival mode.
Right? So now let's say I'm in a relationship and we ain't connecting, there's no unity. So you can't help me get to my next level.
Yeah.
You can't help me multiply. I'm not there to support you or lead you where you need to go. So now we just stuck.
How crappy is that, right?
But
like
that's
live in a world where you just cycle through the same thing and you feel like a failure. Because you're so right. Like, you don't have time, energy, or space to work on yourself. Like, you're literally just clocking 40 hours a week. You're commuting probably an additional 4 hours. You barely you come home maybe at 6, 7 o'clock, try to cook food. How are you supposed to connect with your partner? How are you even supposed to connect with yourself to even understand? And then you just feel like, wow, like, I suck. Like, I can't figure out this whole relationship thing, or I'm always attracting the wrong person or whatever else. And it's like, no, boo, you're great. You're just like tapped into the wrong source.
The wrong frequency.
Like, get out of there, run.
So that's my wild take. I don't know. I'm not saying that y'all should believe that. That's just how I feel. You know, if you're so distracted, you can't worry about like getting real, true connection and building a family unit and like really developing your own situation with your tribe and your people. You can't really do what you were designed to do, what you were called here to do.
I think, and we'll talk way more about feminine masculine energy, but it kind of relates back to something you spoke about a few questions ago. But I feel like I missed what I was going to say.
Listen.
Where did it go? Where did it go? Let's pull it out. Where did it go?
Feminine, masculine energy, called.
You asked earlier, like, what could people do to get like unplugged from the system to be able to like set themselves free? And as you're speaking right now, it reminds me of like what people could do, which is like, of course, always living below your means so you can start to get your time back. I think that's what's key. It's like your first focus in life is, how do I get my time back? And if that means you have to work extra hard and double down for a set amount of time, you say, okay, I'm going to like work like crazy for 3 months so I can get myself X amount of money so I can have 5 hours, 10 hours a week back in my life. And then from there, you can start making like smart energy financial decisions of like, okay, with this 5 hours, am I going to do work on myself that will anytime you work on yourself, your relationships by default elevate. You don't even need to work on your relationship. You just work on yourself and everything else will be fine. So if you have that extra 5 hours in a week, then you can say, okay, 2 hours I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to go to a therapist. I'm going to have a coach or journal, whatever. And these other 3 hours, I'm going to work on my money, on increasing it. And I think if people can do that, they can start to chip away and in 3 years' time be in a completely different place, right?
Yeah. You are here going crazy. I think that's a good one.
Yeah? Okay.
That's a good one, yeah. That's a good one. So when I feel like we can just keep going, you know? I feel like we can keep going. So what's some value you want to leave the people with? Because I feel like if we keep going, it's going to be like a Andrew Tate type of podcast.
4 hours?
4 hours, anyway. So what's something you want to leave the people with?
I want to leave the people with, I think, practice, like not being afraid to fail and just practicing as much as you possibly can and never taking no for an answer, just seeing no as a not yet. and trying new things and like exploring, like trying things that you don't like and still doing them anyway, and doing it with a positive heart and an uplifted mindset I think will take you out of any situation you're in, honestly. Like, be delusional, as everyone's saying, like have the rose-colored sunglasses. Like, I always say that when I was going through my worst times, if I would have looked for if I would have been focused on the bad things, which is what's easy to do, I would have never made it out. But because I was so gaslighting myself to only see the positive and to ignore the bad stuff, I think it put enough distance energetically between the like poverty that I lived in, the destitute that I was in, and it was able to focus me on my future. And every single time I took a step, like those little steps added up. And, you won't be where you want to be overnight, but you're going to get there eventually. But if you don't start today, you're never going to get there. So I would just bet on yourself. So in 10 years, you could literally be on the yacht, whatever your dream is, you can have it, That's it.
So where can they find you?
Mostly on Instagram at Eva Brown, EVAA Brown. And on TikTok, it's the same.
So if someone wants to learn from you on the consulting side, maybe be coached by you, those are the places that they need to go to?
Yeah, that's the main spot for everything. Because then you can see what I'm about. You'll flip through some reels. On there that you have links to my websites, consulting schedule links as well. I work with people primarily on construction and business development. So the conversations we're having are, of course, in how to become a project manager, how to get into the construction realm and add it in as a service if you're already in that space, but also developing your business. So a lot of resources. What's cool about this experience for me is that all of my businesses have now come together. So after like having salons, rental cars, like brick and mortar locations, and doing so many different investments and being part of a lot of negotiations and contracts, and like I've just had my hands in everything, but on a very high level, right? And just talking to lawyers, and I'm realizing as I'm starting to coach my students and they're asking me these questions, the type of information I'm giving them is so beyond construction. It's like more into how to set up your LLCs properly, how to make sure that your systems are correct, so you can withstand and grow faster, even faster than me. Because when I first started construction, I didn't even have a website. I just did all the referral, which is a flex. But like, obviously you can make more money, in other ways.